Guided imagery is a mind-body intervention by which a trained person will help someone evoke and generate mental images, which in turn stimulate or recreate the sensory perception of sight, sound, taste, smell, movements, and images associated with touch. Now, this can include textures, temperature, pressure, as well as imaginative or mental content that the participant or patient experiences as a defined conventional sensory category. Usually this will precipitate strong emotions or feelings in the absence of stimuli. Now, there are two fundamental ways in which mental imagery is generated: voluntary or involuntary. Today we will focus on voluntary, and with voluntary mental imagery, it may resemble previous sensory perceptions and experience recalled from memory, or the images that may be entirely a product of fantasy. Now, when looking at this is a method to calm down, to bring pH levels and everything down to a low minimum and balance out equilibrium with the body, as well as keep the mind clear and sight focused. So there are essentially 4 main steps to understanding the basics of guided imagery. The first step is image generation. The second step is image maintenance. The third step is image inspection. And the fourth step is image transformation. Going back to the first step of image generation, here you will create an image in your head visually. So close your eyes and imagine that you are in a place of comfort. For me, I usually imagine that I'm behind the counter on my abuelita's house, and there are fresh enchiladas everywhere on the counter. I also imagine that it is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and that it is raining outside. Remember, this is supposed to be a place of comfort, and the more details into the visual image, the better the guided imagery process will be. Step 1. Let's move into step 2, which is image maintenance. Now, for the second part, you need to imagine the sensory aspects of the 5 senses. So imagine the smells your nostrils encounter. Imagine the amount of air that is circulating around you, the textures you feel, the taste, etc. You want to make this as real as you possibly can, and you make it so these emotions are real. So utilize past experiences to achieve this. And for the third step, it is probably the hardest one of all. So it requires you to be in a comfortable place, literally physically. And that is either a bed or a chair, somewhere where you have support, depending on what happens next. Because this step is image inspection. And with that, you want to test both the image you've instilled in your mind and your sensory feelings together. So close your eyes and put the first 2 steps together. Feel everything around you and breathe slowly. You want to try to adjust any aspects in which you feel not to be real enough. The purpose of this is to really try to imagine yourself in the place you want to be and trick your brain into thinking it, which in turn fools the body. This method enables pH levels, blood pressure, and other health facets to actually change to perfect concentrations when using this guided imagery process. Fourth and final step is image transformation, and this is the more applicable side of the entire process. See, in this final step, the goal is to apply the guided imagery process in actual scenarios. Let's say you had a rough day and need to calm down. Simply apply the first 3 steps and position yourself in a place of comfort. For me, being able to do this on the spot helps me stay incredibly calm as a person, and it can help you too. You just have to keep practicing and following these simple steps, and you too can master the art of guided imagery. We analyzed the 4 basic steps to understanding guided imagery. We first looked at image generation, in which you need to invoke and produce an image in your mind of someone that is a place of comfort. We looked at image maintenance, which is the second step, in order to add sensory details such as feeling, smell, and touch. The third step is when we apply both together and try to produce it over and over until we finally get a scenery that we can find comfortable and understand. And the last step is the application step,
the image transformation phase, in which we are able to use these in different scenarios to help ourselves calm down in rough situations. Hopefully, you too can be the master of guided imagery by following these basic steps.